Welcome to the Robbins Regional Wrap, your one-stop shop for all of your Houston County news. I'm Connor Hendricks. Each week, we're taking you through what's happening in Houston, Warner Robins, Robbins Air Force Base, and your neighborhood. First up this week, a major trial wrapped up in Houston County and a killing that left a 14-year-old dead. A Warner Robins teen will spend more than 30 years in jail. 15-year-old Terrence Howard Jr. was sentenced in a fatal shooting after a fight outside of a Houston County movie theater. 14-year-old Traquavius Holloway was killed in that shooting back in 2024. Police say it started after a group of teens was kicked out of the Galleria Cinema. The defense argued that Howard shot in self-defense, but prosecutors argued that shooting was not justified. Our Elizabeth Hunter was in court this week to hear the verdict and the sentencing.
You didn't just steal this boy's car or punch him in the mouth or whatever. You stopped his heart from beating forever.
Judge Edward Lukemire made it clear that in his courtroom, age will not excuse killing someone.
The law doesn't require this great intellect. There's another human being, and they're gone because of you.
On Tuesday, the jury found Terrence Howard Jr. guilty of voluntary manslaughter, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and possession of a weapon during a felony.
You went from A to Z in what you did. You took another human being's life.
Howard's mother spoke during sentencing.
My son would have never brandished that weapon, nor would he have shot if he did not feel like his life was about to be taken or that he would be seriously beaten to death.
Despite her statement and the defense's argument that said the shooting was self-defense, Lukemire sentenced Howard to 37 years. He'll spend at least 32 of those in prison. Traquavius' great-aunt Shalita Austin says although justice is served, the hole in her family's heart will never be filled.
But I can't really say like happy or anything like that because nothing will bring him back. And so really, we're happy that he's not just a number.
Austin says her family will now spend the rest of their lives making sure Traquavius' name never stops being said. In Houston County, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
After sentencing, the defense asked about the steps they needed to take to request a new trial and appeal. And it might not seem like it after hearing that story, but the crime numbers show a promising trend in Warner Robins. The police department released the city's 2025 end-of-year report. Our Jasmine Lee spoke with Police Chief Wayne Fisher to break down the numbers and what that means for you.
From crime trends to staffing challenges, Warner Robins Police Chief Wayne Fisher says they're continuing to keep the community safe.
From 2020 to 2025, year by year, they've been going down.
The numbers back that up. Even as the city continues to grow, Chief Wayne Fisher says crime is falling.
Incident reports completed, was 15,073.
And that's not all. In 2025, the city reported 6,000 serious crimes, down from more than 8,000 in 2020. That includes violent offenses like assault, robbery, and homicide. Despite that progress, Fisher says some issues remain.
Where we've had the violent crime spikes last year, we saw that with our domestic violence, and you saw that in 2025. Countywide, all the law enforcement leaders joined together in Houston County.
The city had 8 homicides, most of them related to domestic violence. One notable case
this past year on Wyndon Way is just a real capstone.
Police handled a major drug bust in October, targeting long-standing criminal activity in that neighborhood.
We were able to put to rest a generational problem, on that street in that area that was drug and gang related. And that resulted in several arrests and, again, RICO charges and things of that nature. And the people within that community are a lot safer.
While the department is making progress, Chief Fisher says they face another challenge. They're currently about 17 to 18 officers short, something they are working to address. Reporting in Warner Robins, Jasmine Lee, 13 WMAZ News.
The Warner Robins Police Department held a town hall Tuesday to discuss those numbers with the community. And in neighboring Peach County, the calls for change at Byron Middle School are growing louder. Several parents are demanding that administrators take stronger action on bullying. Many say that current disciplinary policies are too lenient and demanding stronger action and clearer accountability for how such cases are handled.
One by one, half a dozen parents stepped to the podium in Byron Middle School's cafeteria Tuesday morning. They spoke to the school's local governance team during its regularly scheduled meeting. Bullying wasn't part of the planned discussion, but these parents made sure the issue was heard.
If my son standing here, he's been nothing bullied, ridiculed.
When bullying is not addressed clearly and consistently, it sends a message to the students.
First to the podium, Brandy Little, Ava Little's mother. She's the 12-year-old who took her own life last month. Her parents say she was bullied at this school and online. Brandy Little says she has a paper trail documenting countless times she's had to respond to Ava's crisis moments at school. She says the school's lack of communication made it nearly impossible to get answers. She and other parents say the current discipline system is falling short.
They should have to do community service. Their parents should have to pay a fine. The kid and their parents should have to attend a mental health class, an anger management class.
On Monday, the district acknowledged a recent increase in concerns, particularly among middle and high school students linked to social media. But their statement did not address any specific cases.
They put out a post trying to deflect and trying to put it on social media. Ava Little got bullied at this school. She got sexually harassed at this school. They did nothing.
At the end of the meeting, Byron Middle School's principal spoke, but never addressed the parents' concerns. He, however, highlighted academic improvements and announced an anti-bullying assembly happening next month. One member of the government's team did respond, saying it will take a community effort to stop bullying. However, parents were told the team would not address their statements in this meeting.
That was our Carmen Brown reporting. In a statement, Peach County Schools says that Georgia law defines bullying as an imbalance of power, repeated actions, and conduct that is severe, persistent, or pervasive. The district says when they investigate bullying reports, they often turn out to be mutual conflicts between students. Peach County Schools encourages families with bullying concerns to contact their child's school directly and also reach out to law enforcement for situations involving online activity. And right now the weather is lovely, but recently a Warner Robins man says he struggled to get into the city's new homeless shelter. City leaders say Haven Hope House is open, but only during certain times, and services are still limited. Jasmine Lee brings you an update on how the shelter is working and what the people who need housing are looking for.
Close to 100 emails, maybe less.
That's how many times Andrew Davidson reached out to the city of Warner Robins after being displaced, searching for a way in.
We don't make housing and displacement a concern and a priority. What are we really in this business for?
He says he followed every step they gave him, getting a COVID test, meeting with shelter staff, and attempting to be placed in an alternative facility, but still didn't get a bed.
There's nobody being taken care of with that. There's no bodies in the beds, right? There's no help being done. It's taking in.
As he continues searching for answers, leaders at the shelter say full access isn't there just yet. Pastor Daryl Yarbrough of the Assembly Church says they're still waiting on the city to release the money raised. That money is needed to keep Haven Hope House operating full time. He says for now, the shelter is open in limited ways, offering services during cold weather and outreach services along with scheduled shower days.
Until we're able to get those funds released and to us, it's hard to put someone there full time, but we have people ready to go and in place. We've got plenty of volunteers.
And while those services continue, Davidson questions who they're reaching and who may still be left out.
It looks like it's all for show. Who's getting the help and why aren't we using these resources for what they were designed and budgeted for?
For some with limited needs, help is there, but for others, it's still out of reach. Reporting in Warner Robins, Jasmine Lee, 13 WMAZ News.
Yarbrough says once Haven Hope House is fully open, they'll provide counseling and job assistance. Right now, we're following up with the city to find out where the money is and when it'll be released. And in news affecting your wallet, this also affects Houston County and all of central Georgia, really. The conflict in Iran continues to drive those gas prices up here at home. Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil travels through. Those gas prices aren't just keep going up, but that's affecting businesses as well, especially those with multiple vehicles. Our Madison Rick spoke to One Central Georgia Moving Company, who says they've been absorbing those extra fuel costs so their clients don't have to.
Loading up a lifetime of memories takes more than just muscle.
Yeah, it's going to definitely need that other truck.
It takes a team that cares.
We're not going to let that expense affect our customers. We're going to absorb that expense, and we're going to trust the good Lord's going to get us through this.
Getting through a time where Georgians have seen the price at the pump increase week by week.
It's gone up $25 to $30 per tank. Because we fill up, so it's $25 to $30 per tank is what we've noticed. For the moving trucks, it's about $40 to $60, just depending on where we get fuel and how much we need fuel.
Fuel is one thing this moving team relies on to get from point A to B, and they've seen their costs going up, but they may soon see relief.
If you've been driving around and seen lower gas prices, that's because Governor Kemp signed a bill that's going to suspend Georgia's gas tax for about 60 days. So when you pull up to the pump, you might be seeing a little less money leave your pockets.
But some drivers might see a dip sooner than others. On Sunday, AAA's average gas price hit $3.69 for regular gas, but driving around, you might see a 33-cent difference.
Keeping the rates where they are, trying to absorb that expense, even though it's increasing. We're hoping that's going to, again, keep us working more, keep more jobs coming in, which will keep my guys working, will keep money in their pockets, and they're not going to get hit by this.
And for this team, every dollar saved at the pump means one more memory they can help move without passing the cost on to you. Reporting in Byron, Madison Ricks, 13 WMAZ News.
Still to come, a man accused of swindling thousands from his auto repair shop has learned his sentence. After the break, we spoke with officials about what comes next. Thanks for sticking with us. A Warner Robins auto shop owner will have to pay back thousands of dollars to customers after admitting to more than 18 felony theft charges. 2 years ago, we talked to Logan Simmons customers who said he took their cash up front at his Warner Robins auto shop. They said they paid him for car repairs, but their cars were never fixed. Warner Robins police did an investigation and found that Simmons pocketed the cash without doing anything. Prosecutors indicted Simmons on 19 felony counts in 2023, and the decision in his case came down last week. Elizabeth Hunter has this story.
Logan Simmons pleaded guilty to 18 theft by conversion counts Thursday in Houston County Superior Court.
Our office identified in total 18 victims who were included on the indictment, which charged Mr. Simmons with theft by conversion of people's money.
Houston County District Attorney Eric Edwards says Simmons had 19 charges against him. 18 of those charges were theft by conversion. The 19th was exploitation of an elderly person. That charge was dropped.
It's frequent when we're negotiating what someone's going to plead to and what sentence we're going to recommend to a court. When we have an indictment with a lot of counts, we'll say, all right, plea to these, and we won't go forward on that one.
Edwards says prosecutors achieved their purpose.
Our primary goal as an outcome here is getting these folks their money back.
Simmons received 15 years of probation. Edwards says the biggest stipulation of his probation is repayment to the victims.
What we're really seeking is restitution for about 13 of the victims of that indictment, and right now it's looking like it's going to total about $40,000 or so in that area.
Edwards says Simmons' probation does not keep him from working at or owning another auto shop, but he is a convicted felon, so any background checks conducted by jobs or counties to give a business license would see his criminal record.
I would venture to say I would be absolutely shocked if I heard that Mr. Simmons were ever operating an automotive repair shop again.
Edwards says a restitution hearing will decide the exact amount that Simmons owes, but the date for that has not yet been set. Also this week, we're getting our first real look at Warner Robins' new police training center in action. Officers started using that building several weeks ago, even before it was completely finished. Jasmine Lee takes you inside.
Taser, taser, taser.
Inside Warner Robins' new police training center, it's not just finished, it's active.
We're in the process of doing our taser recert.
From tasers to split-second decisions, officers are training for real scenarios they could face in the field.
We've had 6 of those classes set up. We did 3 last week. We're doing 2 this week, and we'll do 1
next week.
Lieutenant Kirk Lowry oversees training for the department, now doing it all in one place.
We were given the permission to move in, so we moved our operation from the old building, which is right down the hill, to the new building, which is here.
It's a big change from where they were.
I think it's about 40 years old. It had the heating and air conditioning was pretty much non-existent. We did not have internet in it. And it was a little bit smaller.
Now with more space and updated technology, they can train more officers at once and bring testing in-house.
This is the first stop where our new employees come. And before, when we had the older facility, from a recruiting aspect, this is not the first thing that you want your new employees to see.
Lowry says it also changes first impressions for new recruits walking through the door.
Now they come into this. It is a very nice, new, modern building. Still got the new building smell. So this should help our recruiting efforts.
While work continues on final details, training here is already up and running. Reporting in Warner Robins, Jasmine Lee, 13 WMAZ News.
The department also plans to host its first hiring assessments in the new building. They previously had to do that off-site. Also moving on to a developing project in Houston County now, the Fagan Mill water treatment plant in Warner Robins is due for an update, and the price tag sits at almost $100,000. Elizabeth Hunter spoke with Houston County Public Works about what this upgrade will do and why it's needed.
This plant will see a makeover.
It may be replacing the roof, replacing the windows and doors, making sure that the facilities are up to date.
At Tuesday night's commission meeting, the Houston County Commissioners voted to remodel the Fagan Mill water treatment plant. It's an update that Director of Public Works Operations Brian Jones says was greatly needed.
What they did was approve so that we could spend about $98,000 to extend the life of the plant.
Jones says the plant was built in 1975. He says the normal lifespan of a plant is 50 years, and now that the plant is over that, the repairs are needed to keep it running.
We're going to rehab it, and we hope to get, it would be good to get another 25 years out of it. It'd be fantastic if we get another 50.
Jones says the cost to repair the plant equals only 1% of the total price to build a new plant.
Houston County is growing at a rapid rate, and we want to make sure that we provide the safe water in the most economical fashion.
Ken Cramp lives about a mile from the plant. He says he's never had issues with the water, and he's happy the county stays on top of repairs.
That plant's been there since '75. There's been a lot of growth and development over the years, so certainly putting a strain on the old system. So it's great to know that they're thinking far enough ahead to upgrade the system.
Jones says water services will continue during the remodel. In Houston County, Elizabeth Hunter, 13 WMAZ News.
Jones says they don't know when the remodel will start, but once it does, it'll take 6 weeks. He says it should be done by summertime. After the break, a Warner Robins kid is stepping up to help others after being hospitalized on her birthday last year. We'll have this straight from the Heart story next. Thanks for sticking with us. Wednesday was a big one for one Warner Robins girl, and she's making sure that it's a big one for other kids too. Piper Barrington turned 12 this week, but instead of celebrating herself, she's giving back to kids who are going through what she went through just a year ago. Madison Ricks has her story that comes straight from the heart.
Wow. Wow.
The joy of being a kid.
Boop, 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 detonate.
A kid who gets to go to school.
I came back, so I think they'll be able to survive the hospital and eventually come back and be able to be a normal kid with a normal life.
And a life where Piper Barrington gets to play with toys.
We would have paid any money in the world to see her playing games and being free and living this sort of life right now.
But 1 year ago, she was diagnosed with a rare disease.
Our nurses checked her thyroid levels and decided and figured out that's what was causing her disease, which is an extremely rare form of Hashimoto's disease, which is Hashimoto's encephalopathy, which causes delusions and seizures and hallucinations.
She suffered seizures and spent nearly a month in the hospital, including her 11th birthday.
I felt sad that I couldn't go out and celebrate.
But she turned that sadness into an idea, a promise.
Other kids that are also in the hospital usually don't have anything to do on their birthdays, and the nurses might not have anything for them to do. So I wanted to give them toys so that they could play with in the hospital like I did.
And now she gets to bring a celebration, a chance at fun to each kid who has to be in the hospital on their special day.
Coco! Coco!
Reporting in Warner Robins, Madison Ricks, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, if you want to help Piper keep her promise, you can drop off toy donations at Tricky's Cards and Games in Warner Robins through March the 31st. The Barrington family will donate all of their collected toys to the Beverly Knight Olson Children's Hospital in Macon.
Well, I just wanted to be with the other guys, some of the other guys that, served. And it would just be good to see them again.
A Central Georgia veteran went on a trip of a lifetime. 93-year-old Korean War vet George Stokes took part in an honor flight to D.C., escorted by his neighbor and his commissioner, Stanley Stewart. Stokes served as a corporal in the 31st Infantry after being drafted in 1952, and he says it was an experience that he still cherishes. Officials say the trip will give him the chance to visit memorials and connect with fellow veterans. Stokes took the flight from the Macon airport. Now, before we let you go, let's take a look at what is happening across the Robins region. First up, spring is in full swing in Warner Robins. Thursday, they're bringing back their food truck roundup. Mayor LaRhonda Patrick says there's something for everyone there, from 20 different food trucks to a kid zone and a bounce house and an Easter egg hunt for all the community. She says the Spring Fling event is a popular one every year, and it gives families a chance to celebrate the spring season and Easter safely.
Instead of doing them in silos in our backyard like I used to do when I was a kid, and then we have different, religious groups that do them, but to have a big one for the whole community, it just doesn't happen anymore. So we wanted to bring this here, and families love it. Kids love it. Everybody loves it.
Now, the Spring Fling runs from 6 to 9 on Thursday at Perkins Field. That's right next to City Hall. That big egg hunt begins at 7. Also, Rainbow House Children's Rainbow Resource Center is holding a fundraiser next week, which supports their work of helping victims of child abuse and neglect. The fundraiser is happening April the 11th at Rigby's Conference Center. Tickets and sponsorships are available for purchase, that is. 4 tickets cost $500, and a table with $8 tickets cost $1,000. They say there'll be food, entertainment, and a silent auction while they support their work in the community. All right, folks, that is a wrap on what's happening throughout the Robins region this week. If you have a Houston County story you want us to share, email us at news@13wmaz.com. And make sure you come back each Friday to get all of your Houston County news and stories that matter to you. Thanks for joining us.